Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Vice President and Business Consulting, Matt Weaver.
Morning. Good morning. Welcome back for day 2 of Accelerate. Everybody have fun last night? All right. I got to tell you, San Diego is such an awesome town. We were walking back from dinner last night, and there's all the historic landmarks and all these great restaurants, and you got the water and the weather. The weather's just perfect here. It's absolutely amazing. And if there was any question, besides the weather, of course, that we're in the state of California, there were also 3 distinct references to marijuana from the main stage yesterday. So it became crystal clear that we're in the state of California. So we'll try to get things back on track today. We've got another full agenda for you. We're going to kick things off hearing from Marc Freedman, who's a successful advisor in the state of Massachusetts. And we've also got an exciting panel for you of some top advisors. We'll learn more about what they're doing and how they're accomplishing success and growth in their practices. Another round of sponsor breakouts, and then we'll close out the day hearing from our keynote speaker, Josh Linkner. So we talked yesterday about the overall theme of the conference being growth, and one of the key drivers for growth being client acquisition. How can you acquire more clients? And there's a lot of ways to go about acquiring more clients. If any of you attended the pre-day session, you heard from Cam Marston. Cam talked a lot about how do you segment, how do you target, how do you communicate with millennial clients and different generations of clients. A lot of people have success targeting the high net worth market, and we've got a great team here at LPL to help you in that endeavor if that's something that you're targeting and you're working with. Niche marketing in terms of focusing on a specific type of client. A lot of people have success there, and there's another one that a lot of people don't talk about as much, and it's targeting the mass affluent, oftentimes an underserved portion of the market, but no doubt a significant amount of opportunity to better serve these clients and prospects and hopefully bring them in to your practice. And so Marc is going to bring that home for us and talk about how he's been able to do that and maybe some ideas for you and how you can successfully incorporate that into your practice. So a couple things about Marc. Marc's been with LPL for 26 years. Started when he was 10 years old, I think, right, Marc? But no, he's had a long partnership with the firm, and we certainly thank you for that long partnership. He's also been really busy. He's in this process of hiring some additional staff. He's moving his client, and I hope you don't mind, Marc, but I did a little bit of research with your relationship manager and got a couple of additional nuggets that I thought the audience might find interesting. First being, Marc loves to play the piano. So if any of you were here Wednesday night, you might have heard Marc tickling the ivories late night here in the hotel lobby, so that's one of his passions. The other thing that I found pretty interesting is Marc is very passionate about his job. He loves being a financial advisor, and we hope you don't have any plans of leaving that profession anytime soon, but eventually Marc's got bigger aspirations for himself. That's right. He wants to be a Disney character at some point in his career. So I don't know what character that might be, but maybe we'll learn more in the presentation this morning. So with that, really excited to welcome and introduce Mr. Marc Freedman to the stage to take it from here. Marc?
How we doing? Are we on here? Oh, you can hear me. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Prepare for the fire hose. You're about to get inundated with ideas, with information that you can take back to your office today and start implementing right now. And I just realized I don't have a remote control. Where did we have? Did I have one? No, it's coming to me. Look, we were so prepared. So I'll just kind of like do a little song and dance and keep that going. But hey, you know what I'll tell you? I've been doing some traveling. I have the opportunity, thank you very much, guys. I do a lot of traveling, training financial advisors to be better financial planners. I travel all around the world doing that. In fact, this February, I was in India, where I got to speak to 700 financial advisors, and an amazing opportunity. If you want to see opportunity, go to India. I mean, these guys talk, some of the stuff they talk about when they're out talking to their clients, they're talking about, well, you know, if you invested in the Sensex index, which is the Indian index, and you got a 12% annualized rate of return, you'd have all this money, right? We can do that here, right? 12%? Easy, right? They think that's normal because that's what their index has been growing at on average. Okay, it's crazy, the opportunity. But I got up and I realized that there's 700 people sitting out here in this audience, not this one, in India. And the first question people ask me is, will they speak English? And so it occurred to me as I'm trying to put together this slideshow, I came across this. Who can tell me what this is? Thank you. Well, thank you very much, because yes, it is an eye chart, and I thought, oh, this will tie in great into my presentation, but I realized, is there anything offensive on that eye chart if I put it up on the screen? No, she's saying no because you speak Hindi, or you know Hindi, right? Well, I had to ask the tour guide if there was before I put it up there, because the last thing I wanted to do was offend 700 people from India. Well, it's kind of like that with our clients. Our clients come to see us, and they want to hire a financial planner, a financial advisor, but you know what? They really have no idea what the heck you do. They just know that you're a financial planner, because if I asked every single person in this room to write a definition of what a financial planner is, how many different definitions would I get? As many people are in the room. And then I began to realize the similar thing happens to us. It's our job, you know, we want to place our clients' interests first. We want to try to educate our clients. But we as business professionals need to tighten the lens a little bit too on our business. Because one of the things that this also represents, that eye chart to you represents the LPL pack. Think about that. You've heard of the LPL pack, but many of you have no idea what the heck it does. And you need to reach out to the people, whether it's Ken and others that are part of this. This is your future. This is the future of your business. And here today, I'm going to put on my LPL pack pin, because I've been part of the LPL pack since inception. And I would encourage all of you to really look hard at being part of the LPL pack here at LPL. Thank you for your support. I got one applause. Great. All right. So maybe that's how you feel about the LPL pack. It's just a little fuzzy. Maybe that's how you feel about, that's how your clients feel about what you do. It's a little fuzzy. They don't know. So what you need to do is you need to turn the dials. It's our job, and what we're going to work on today is to tighten up those dials, to frame up the focus, so your clients have a better sense as to what you do, and that you can look at yourself and say, here's what I need to do to make that clear. So we're going to help you become extraordinary today. You know what? You're ordinary people, each one of us, ordinary people, faced with an extraordinary task. And today we're going to talk about how you're going to take on that extraordinary task and become exceptional. Look, for years I've been up on stage, and I've also watched a lot of presentations. And every meeting you go to, it talks about a particular niche market. We all go for meetings on serving the high net worth market, or the ultra high net worth market, or the women's market, or the middle market, or whatever it is. But no one's ever yet to define any of, I mean, it's easy to define the women market, right? I think. But, but the ultra high net worth market, the high net worth market, it's tough. But I began to realize that most of us, and I know most of you in this room, do not deal with that market that you see there on the screen. This is your market, and it's called the mass affluent. That is who you serve every single day, and that is who I have served for the 26 years I've been in this business. My father started this firm back in 1968, and in April of this year, we will have been delivering financial planning advice and investment management advice to individuals and families who live north of Boston for 50 years. Now that's stability. That's stability. That's something that your clients know that they can count on. It's why we have 3 and 4 and 5 generations of clients in our office. And why don't they leave? Why do we have a 99% retention rate? It's because we know who the mass affluent baby boomer is. Let me see if I'm about to describe your clients. They're between the ages of 55 and 74. They own a home. They plan to spend between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. They have a total net worth, including their house, and I don't know who the idiot was that came up with this term, investable net worth. Investable net worth is only appropriate for brokers. Total net worth is appropriate for planners. And there's 12.5 million of them. So if you think you can't find the mass affluent, you are dead wrong. There's plenty of them out there. And what is it that the mass affluent want from you? What they want is they want to know one thing. You care. You care. They want to know that you will hold their hand. You will offer them reassurances when times are tough. You will be rational during emotional times, and you're willing to say no when they're heading down the wrong path. But you'll always focus on big picture advice. And what's interesting about the mass affluent is when they're coming to see a real financial planner. When they're coming to see a real financial planner, you generally, I don't know how many of you guys see this. We see this all the time. Clients will come to our office, and they will say to us, they'll bring paperwork with them. There'll be a statement from Merrill Lynch, a statement from Edward Jones, a statement from Prudential, a statement from Allianz, their 401k, and I ask them, why are you here? You've got financial advisors' names on all of these statements. Why are you here to see me? And they say this, Mark, it was fun for a while with all of these guys, but now it's time to get serious, and I don't see any of these people prepared to get serious about my financial future by tying it all together. So I'm going to ask you this very uncomfortable question. When your clients think of you, are you the fun guy or the serious one? That's a real important question to ask yourself. And I don't want you to think to yourself what you are, because I'm sure you'll all think, well, I'm the serious guy. What does your client think? What does your client think? So one of the goals that I have for you today is to allow you to come and visit my office. You know, oftentimes you get up here and you see these breakout sessions, you see the keynotes of other advisors giving you all these ideas, and they tell you what you need to do. Folks, I'm about to show you how we do it. That work for you? Are you awake? I know it's a little early. You've been awfully quiet this morning, because some of my jokes aren't really going over as well as I had hoped, but oh well. All right, so let's pull back the curtain here. Whoops. Let's pull back the curtain. Are you ready? Here it is. All right, let's pull back the curtain. And everybody wants to know, Mark, tell me about your business. You're a client, you're a chairman's council advisor. How many assets do you have under management? We've got about $300 million in advisory assets. We are on the hybrid platform. I use Swim 2 exclusively. Right there, you can see the size of our client households. What may be fascinating to you is how many client households do I have that have more than $3 million in it? 10. The average household size in my office is $650,000. Not the average account size, but the average household size is $650,000. I bet I'm doing a good job describing your practice right now, am I not? Hello? All right, good. Let's take a look at this one. How about head of household? How old are my clients? Dad started this business in 1968. You might think, oh, Mark, they must all be 90 and 100. No, not really. But where is the critical peak of our client base? You're looking at it right there. 50 to 80. That's where the bulk of them are. But one of the things that we do have going for us, if you want to look at it this way, for 50 years, we've seen clients. We have a client that's been with my dad for 50 years. They're celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary next month. And what we average in our office, though, is 1 death a month. All right? What's going to happen? People are with you for the course of their life. How good are you at the death business? Something to think about as you begin to grow and evolve in this practice. How good are you at explaining to your clients the death business and the transfer of assets from a spouse? Yeah, you can use that big statistic of the $1 trillion of assets that will transfer from one generation to another. You don't care about that. Your clients don't care about that, but you know what they do care about? How's money going from Johnny to Mary? That's what they care about. And can you give them the instruction to do that? So what I've done here is I want you to look at this mountain. And what I've done is I have laid my client base on top of this mountain, because I think this is the challenge that you folks see in your practice. You have a choice. You can serve one side of the mountain or the other side of the mountain or both of it or just the top, but many of us in this business try to be all things to all people. So what kind of advice can you give to the person that's under 50 years old? What kind of financial planning advice do they really need? Certainly someone that's under 40 years old. What's the best advice you can give to them? Save money, right? Do they need to pay 5.75% sales charges or 1% a year for you to give them the advice of save? No. And they know that. Those guys are in the accumulation business. But I want you to think about when you're talking about value added, when you're talking about the advice that you need to provide, what's the advice that the accumulator needs? How about the people on the other side? When they start climbing up that mountain, they can start to see, as you're the accumulator, you're starting to see, okay, I'm building wealth, building wealth, building wealth, building wealth. And then all of a sudden this cloud appears. And you realize, geez, how further up do I have to go on this mountain before I'm on the other side? And it gets a little cloudy up there. You don't know if you're only halfway up. You don't know if you're just near the top. But this is where clients start asking questions. Because the people on the other side of the mountain, they need to do something else. They're thinking about how do I spend money and how do I preserve my money. This is what goes on their mind. This is what they're thinking about. Who will understand me? Who will guide me? Who will listen? Who will provide the direction that I need? Who will do it for me? Where do I turn? You know, if you were to Google right now, where can I learn how to save money? You get millions, billions, gazillions of responses. But where do I learn how to spend money in retirement? How many returns will you get there? Who knows how to do that better than anybody else? You do. Or you're in the best position to do it. That's what this is all about. You see, to me, if your focus is on the accumulation side, in this day and age, my personal opinion, you will soon be out of business. You will soon be out of business because that guy's going to take it over. If you're focusing on the under 45 crowd, you're not profitable, your margins are getting squeezed, and you'll be lost to another computer engine someday. You got to focus on the other side. And if you're not prepared to focus all of your attention on the 50-plus crowd, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because your margins will just get squeezed. People need, when it's time to get advice, when people want to have questions, when people are crying, they need someone's hand on their shoulder, that's when they get to that 50 and plus number. They're scared. They're worried. So what you got to focus on is how do I balance the price that I charge with the value that I offer? And oftentimes the answer to that question is, well, I charge 1%. So let me ask you, is this guy worth 1%? And think about this. Maybe this is you. Think about this. Is this guy worth 1%? He makes a great first impression. He loves to get to know you. He wants to really get to know you. He provides advice. He makes periodic visits, and he's got the inside track on what's going on. Is that worth 1%? Is it? Hello? Huh? Yeah, you think it might be worth 1%? You know what this guy's job is? He's a maitre d'. He is a maitre d'. So would you pay a maitre d' 1% every time you go to a restaurant? Just add it on as an extra fee at the end along with the tip that you provide to the waiter? No. But you say, oh, but Mark, wait. I do more than that. I provide investment advice. I provide a risk-balanced portfolio. I can build a strategy that's better than most. Well, you know what? Congratulations, folks. You have just become the oldest dog in the room. Because the term an advisor as an investment manager is no longer of value. It is worth 10, 15 basis points. That's all it's worth. But you say, but I deliver this value. I provide money management, I provide stock and bond research. I do these risk-driven portfolios. I can lower my costs. I can do planning projections. So can the robot. What will you do? What are you justifying to get your 1%? Well, let's start with what financial planning is all about. Question for you. When you're putting together a puzzle, what's the most important piece? What's the most important piece? What is this? The ends, the corners, and I heard one guy say it over here. The cover of the box. The cover of the box. But unfortunately, that's not how people think about puzzles, but that's how planners think about puzzles. A stockbroker thinks about, oh, well, I'll focus on this person in the puzzle. An insurance agent might focus on the car in the picture or whatever, but a financial planner refers to the cover of the box to put it all together. This is my puzzle. This is my puzzle. That's what I look as my cover of my box with every decision I make with my family, every decision I make for my business, every decision that I make in life. That's the cover of my box. But I also have a cover of the box for every single one of my clients. What will yours look like? Because here's the problem. Today, this is how clients view you. They view you as either the insurance guy or the investment guy or gal. And let me speak to that for a minute. Because I'm here with my daughter, Mindy. She's 21 years old, graduate, going to be a senior at Babson College. She's expressed some interest in the business, though I will never let her get into the business right out of school. She's got to get out and work and make some money. But true, true. She says to me when we were here yesterday watching the keynote, she's looking around, she says, Dad, there's like 5 girls here. And I said, well, no, there's more than that here. However, if I strip out all the home office employees and all of the sponsors that are here, you may be right. There are 5 women advisors here. Folks, the future of our business is women. The future of our business is women. And guys, if you don't get that you have to get a little cushy, a little emotionally involved, a little bit more empathetic with your clients, you too will be out on the street. Because women will rule this profession 10 to 15 years from now. And you damn well better be prepared for it. I'm recruiting her. But you're not allowed to come in 2 years, at least. But this is how clients want to view you, folks. They want to see you, if you want to call yourself a financial planner, you better be able to do all this stuff. Investments should not be what you lead with. Financial planning is what you should lead with. Investments are a slice in the financial planning pie. You got to offer tax planning. You don't have to do taxes, but you got to offer tax planning. You got to know how to read a 1040. You got to give advice off a 1040. You need to know about homeowners, automobile, umbrella policies. You don't have to sell it, but you got to know about it. You got to know how to read a trust and a will. You got to know what a healthcare proxy is and a homestead declaration is. And you also have to be a great listener. You got to be willing to ask the tough questions when no one wants to ask them. You got to be the person that raises the elephant in the room. So I had this client advisory council. And back in, oh my God, it's a long time ago, 2001, 2002, just after we had 9/11, markets had fallen, and it was back in the days when Lincoln Anderson used to be the chief investment officer or whatever he was here at LPL. And Lincoln referred to the years following 9/11 as the cheese grater effect. Every year you'd open your statement, yep, and they'd slice another few dollars off and slice another few dollars off. Every month they were slicing some more money out of your portfolio because the accounts just went down ever so slowly. He referred to it as the cheese grater effect. So my dad and I, who had put together this thing called the Client Advisory Council back in 1996, we'd been doing this, taking our clients out twice a year. Twice a year we took them all out, and we brought them out for dinner. And by the way, the story that I'm about to share with you is in the book, and I think all of you guys received one in your rooms yesterday. We asked our, you're welcome. So we asked the client, you know, every month you open up your statements and it's worth less and less and less and less. And we asked the question, the elephant in the room, we asked the question, why are you still here? Why are you still hanging around? And this guy says to me, Mark, he says, I'll tell you the reason I'm still here. He says, Mark, I joined you guys in 1992. I was retiring out of GTE. I had always done all of my investing on my own. I had always handled all the personal financial stuff on my own. And he said, and when it was time to retire, I realized I didn't want the responsibility. And so I turned it over to you, and everything has worked out great. But the reason I stayed today has nothing to do with the reason that I'm here now. 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And as you well know, for the years that you've known us, I've always come into the meeting, and Joyce, my wife, would never say a word. She would just sit and listen. And as we've been facing this terminal cancer illness, and Dick looked down to Joyce and she grabbed his hand, he said, Joyce told me at dinner, don't you dare ever fire the Freedmans. Because she knew that we were it. We were it. Now, talk about getting a big head, right, in that moment. Folks, that's what a financial planner is. A financial planner isn't the guy that gets the best rate of return on an investment account. In fact, your clients don't care. They want reasonable performance. But then another guy raised his hand, and he said to me, Mark, he says, you know what I think you need? And he was a marketing guy that retired out of Raytheon. He says, you need a way to illustrate what financial planning is. I said, you got an idea? He says, I do. And he says, I want you to imagine the silhouette of a human body up on a screen. And in the faintest of the background, you can kind of hear the beating of a heart. And as the heart grows stronger, it becomes more visual within the illustration. And as the heart beats even louder, the circulatory system begins to fill out the whole body. And each of the extremities of that body represent a different part of what you do as a financial planner. And as you can see up there, the head might be psychology. There might be banking and cash management that rests on the weight of the shoulders and the back. Investments might be on one hand, insurance on the other, estate planning on another, and tax planning on another. And then all of a sudden, the market drops 10%. And what happens? What happens? All of our focus goes on, oh my God, we're losing money in our investments. And the phone starts ringing, and you start getting calls. And you start saying, we need to get out, we need to do something, we need to make a change because your clients are asking for it. And if that's the type of call that you're getting, and that's how you react to it, you have a problem. Because the financial planner realizes the heart runs through everything. The financial planner realizes that, yes, the market may be falling, and maybe you've got a little ouchie on your hand, the issue of investments. But if you focus all of your attention on the hand, you've forgotten about the feet. You've forgotten about the head, about the shoulders, about the other hand. The financial planner stays rational during emotional times. That is financial planning. And I'm like, holy crap, you came up with that? This was a client that came up with this. Does that illustration make sense? You get that? All right, now here's a lesson for you that you're going to walk out of here, and I'm just going to give you your first idea. I hope I've given you other ideas already, but here it is. That illustration that you just saw, I made that exclusively for this meeting. How much did it cost? How much did it cost for me to make that 6 PowerPoint slide illustration, and I have no idea how to make it? I outsourced it. How much did it cost? How much? $5? Fiverr. It's a $5 website that will do stuff like this. Fiverr. Okay. How much did it? You didn't answer my question though. How much did it cost? $5. Huh? Yeah. The answer is it cost me $50 to make this. On Uptick. I'm sorry, not Uptick. Upwork is what it's called. It used to be called Elance. Folks, if you aren't using Elance or Upwork to try to do some of your marketing stuff, to develop a logo, to develop taglines, to develop graphics, you are a fool. This is cheap money. Cheap money. You do not need to hire a web design company for $25,000 to build you a better website. Upwork. I strongly encourage it. All right, so let's talk about the formula for financial planning. I've often said it would be nice if every financial planner could walk around the world and hand out cards that say, this is what financial planning is, and every client that walks into your office could have a card that said, this is what I expect from my financial planner. If I don't, you're fired. This is what it should say. You don't get it. That's why it didn't sell. I couldn't market it that way, so I tried it this way. This is what it's all about, folks. If you're not focusing on all three of those key areas, discovery, capital protection, and wealth management, you're fooling yourself. Many people just focus on the wealth management side. The mass affluent baby boomer wants somebody that will give them advice in all of those areas. And you know what? You cannot be expert in it all. And that's why you partner with LPL. That's why you partner with your wholesalers. That's why you go out and you find you need to spend your time in front of clients, not researching investments, not trying to look at alpha and beta or whatever else it was that Bert was talking about yesterday. You got to leave that to the professionals. Leave that to people that do that full time. How many people here think they're pretty good at picking investments? How many people here think they're pretty good at picking investments? I got a couple hands up. How many people think they're better than most people in the room here at picking investments? Let me ask you this. If I were to ask the question, your clients are sitting here, and I had these cameras on you right now, and I said, how many people here think they're pretty good at picking investments? Every hand would go up in the room, right? So why are you lying to your clients? Why are you lying to your clients? If you're better than everybody else in the room, go work for a fund company. Go work as a portfolio manager. Your clients are hiring you for advice, and they want you to find the smartest people in the investment business, to partner with you, to give you that advice. That's what LPL is delivering. That's what they're developing. Whether it's GWP, whether it's SWIM, whether it's MWP or PWP, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Stop working so damn hard trying to figure out the most creative investment portfolio. God, that's such a waste of time. Your clients don't need that from you. They want advice. They want you to help them think about when it's time to take $2,000 from my account every month. How the hell am I going to do it? Can you show me how to do a direct deposit to my checking account? I want to buy a Jaguar. Can you help me do that? I'm thinking about moving out of my house and going to a senior living facility. Can you help me do that? Oh, no. We got to figure out how we're going to march that portfolio. We're going to kind of trim down a little bit on the stock side, add a little bit more to the... What? No! Stop it. Stop it. The value for investment advice, look, MWP, I don't even know what they charge for an MWP for their fee, but whatever LPL charges for that piece of it, that's the cost of investment advice. What, you think you're better than that? They got a team of 40-something people doing this every day. 24 hours a day, they lose sleep over it. And we're going to spend 15 minutes or maybe 20% of our day thinking about investment advice? That's crazy. You're out here to build business. You're out here, especially when you're in the advisory slot, especially in the light of this DOL rule. You know what your number one job is? Number one job. Never lose a client. You're going to spend a ton of money on marketing yourself, trying to say, all right, we're going to do seminars, we've got to prospect, we've got to bring all this business. You got to focus on more wallet share of your existing clients because you've already built a relationship with them. Let them be your marketing department. So what I want to share with you in the next few moments is our secret ingredient in our office. This is the mantra that we follow in our office, and it's something that you're welcome to adopt. Everyone always asks me, Mark, what is your minimum? You know what my minimum is? Do I like you? If you are not going to get along with your client or you think you're setting yourself up for a problem with a client liking you, do not take them. I don't care how young you are in the business, how new you are in the business. Focus on what you believe in. But when you enjoy them, engage them. Do whatever you can to make their life exceptional. Surprise them. Surprise them all the time. And then when they become a client of yours, you want to be responsible for coordinating everything in your life. I'm a power user of e-money. Power user of e-money. 450 households. I have 450 comprehensive net worth statements in e-money. How many people put their interests of their clients first? How many people here believe they do that? Really, only a few of you? Well, that's interesting. Okay. You know what's amazing to me? When I speak at the Masters Conference, When I speak at the Summit Conference, every hand goes up with confidence. Every hand goes up with confidence. That's what you need. Guys, you need to be more confident in yourself. Be proud of what you do. Really show it off. So I'll ask again, how many people place the interest in their clients first? Oh, finally, we got not even everybody. I still couldn't get everybody to get their hands up. Holy crap. Okay, so now we all talk about this. Our clients are hearing about this, right? Put the interest of my clients first. Well, I'll ask you this. If a client comes to you with $100,000, $500,000, $5 million, and they say, hey, I'd like you to help me invest this money, do you take on the client? Maybe. Some say no, some say yes. Well, my belief is if you're called to the witness stand in a court of law, and you're sitting here on the witness stand, and the attorney comes up to the witness stand and says, Mr. Freedman, we understand you believe you placed the interest of your client first. You invested in a nice portfolio of ETFs with that $500,000 account. Can you explain how you thought you placed the interest of the client first? I said, sure. You know, we listened to them. I put together a portfolio. I looked at the costs. I asked them some questions. And we built this portfolio. And we thought it was appropriate for them at a fair price. Were you aware that this client had $5 million in debt? Were you aware that this client was considering bankruptcy because of the amount of debt that they were involved in? Were you aware that the client was proceeding through a divorce at the time? No, I wasn't. So how can you say you placed the interest of the client first? I lose. I lose. Are you prepared to have that question? Are you prepared to be asked those questions from the witness stand? Folks, I will tell you this. Before you invest a single dollar of your client's money, you need to know where everything is and what everything is worth. You need them to show you statements. They just can't tell you, oh, I got 10 grand here, I got 15 grand here, I got 30,000 here, the value of my house is that. I go to the Registry of Deeds website to see who owns the mortgage. I go to Zillow to get a fair value on their home. I ask for statements. Folks, you want to provide advice and you want to deliver value? This is value. And it's protecting your ass too. You got to think differently. You got to think differently. If you're truly interested in placing the interest of your client first, you need to know where everything is and what everything is worth. Just go ahead and ask your client, do you want me to place your interest first? And they'll say, of course we do. Well, you'll understand why I need to know where everything is and what everything is worth before I ever invest a single dollar. What client will argue with that? And if they do, I don't like you. You're not a client. The other thing we need to do as part of our secret ingredient is let's remember everything we've talked about. We see a lot of people. Use your CRMs. If you don't have a CRM, God, get a CRM. I use Redtail. I used Salesforce for the longest time, but my staff just couldn't get it. It was too clunky, too hard. Redtail has been perfect for us. It's been a fabulous system. It's just what we needed. But Redtail allows us to remember all of the conversations. Imagine going to see a client from 10 years ago, and the client comes over and says to you, geez, Mark, I'm not quite sure how far we've come over these years, and you pull out their net worth statement from 15 years ago. Do you think they're just going to focus on how much their account grew? No. They're going to look at what was their income 15 years ago? What was the value of the house 3 years ago? What debts did they worry about 15 years ago? That's all on there. And they're going to see how far they've come. You need to carry that net worth statement, and you need to retain, because the focus here is not on acquisition, folks. When you're in the advisory business, the focus is on retention. So how do we do that? We have the eyeball test. The eyeball test is this. I'm not interested in dealing with you if I'm not going to look at you eyeball to eyeball. 90% of my clients live within 10 miles of my office. 450 households. I see you in Dunkin' Donuts, I see you at the shopping mall, I see you at a baseball game, I see you on the soccer field. I need to be the same person, and so does my staff, the same person as I am in the office as I am outside. And my kids know that too, and sometimes that's an uncomfortable situation for them to know that they need to be, control themselves a little bit. But it's important. Now, we do have clients that travel to Florida, to Arizona, they move out that way, and yes, I go to visit them. But I do not have relationships over the phone or via the internet. Leave that to the robos, folks. Because if that's your relationship, if your relationship is exclusively going to be electronic, you're going to lose it to the robo eventually. It'll be that easy. We also have the 2% rule. 2% rule says, know one client. will ever represent more than 2% of the revenue to my firm. I want you to imagine losing your top 3 clients tomorrow. How would that change the look of your firm? Would it impact it dramatically? Maybe, maybe not. And for many of you, I bet you don't know. That's kind of sad too. We have a responsibility of doing some business analytics for our own office. LPL has some great tools to help you get the business analytics of your office. You understand where your revenue is coming from, who you're getting it from. You've got to use those tools. So the number one thing that we tell our clients they're going to get from us, number one thing is not great performance. In fact, I even tell our clients, you want good performance, you want active performance, you want a lot of trading, go away. We are the most boring investors you've ever seen. We might make 1 to 2 trades a year. 1 to 2 trades a year, but the number one thing we're going to help you do, we're going to help you get your financial house in order. Number 2, we're going to only propose to you simple investment strategies. If I can't remember how to explain how the product works tomorrow, they certainly never will. So the basic of mutual funds, ETFs, easy. All these crazy riders, all these crazy convoluted strategies that include hedging strategy, forget it. They damn well better be getting a huge premium to be invested in something like that. For this group, for the mass affluent, ultra high net worth, maybe they need more sophisticated strategies. This is the mass affluent. Keep it simple. Here's what they really want. Imagine your clients are late 70s. The husband has just passed away, and the wife has been driving around in the same car for 15 years. She has no kids, and she wants to buy a car. She would rather drive that car for another 15 years than go to the dealership. But imagine if you said to her, wait a second, you need a safe car. Let's go together. Let's find a car. When you've been in the community as long as I have, I know all the dealers. I know what salesmen to talk to. They're not going to screw us. And even if I went to a new dealership, how'd you like to do this? You walk in with your client, and she says, hi, I'm looking for a car. I'm looking for a new Camry or whatever it might be. And the salesman's great, and she says, oh, and I've brought along my financial advisor with me to help me make an informed decision. And the salesman now is a little bit intimidated. You know when they go down to sit down at the desk, and they start asking you all these questions? Well, what you do is you pull out your HP 12C and stick it right there. I don't know the first thing about a car. In fact, I just bought a new Mercedes about 6 weeks ago. I have never, ever, ever popped open the hood. I don't even know what's under the car. You know what I like, Mindy? What do I like most about my car? That's right. There's massaging seats, and it changes colors inside. That was the selling proposition for me. Okay? I don't know what's under the hood, don't even know how to flip up the hood. But I will go with my clients to the car dealership, drop down the calculator, and when the guy says, you know, oh, I got to talk to my manager, I said, do me a favor, I said, can you just bring your manager over to us? I'd prefer to talk to him. And my client is like, this is good. You don't lose these people, right? Is that value? Is that value added? All right, the other thing we do is the elephant in the room test. There's always something in a relationship with a client that the husband and the wife, the partner, the spouse, whatever, they don't disagree, that they don't agree on. Maybe it's that family farm or the family cabin up by the lake. One wants to keep it, one wants to sell it. You can't ignore those conversations, guys. That's the stuff that you have to raise. I didn't say you have to find solutions, but you have to offer up some rational questions, some thought-provoking questions for them to consider when they go home. To say, you know, hey, I never saw it that way. Or maybe we can work this out. The big one here is you got to be tax aware. If you don't know how to read a 1040, you're screwed. That is the number one way to keep a client forever. Thomson Financial puts out a piece of software. It's called Planner FP, I think, Planner PS, something like that, where you can put in your client's tax return, very basic, put it in, and then you can model different scenarios. What if you took money from your Roth rather than taking money from your IRA? What if you decided to reinvest your dividends rather than take dividends, or vice versa? How much money can I take from my IRA before I have to pay tax on Social Security? Wouldn't those be cool things to be able to do? You're not doing tax returns, you're doing tax planning. You're saving your clients money. It's called Planner SP. You'll go, if you talk to Thompson Financial, you'll find it on there. It's like $600 for the software. It's awesome and very easy to use. The number one thing that we use in our office that our clients love, though, is you've heard of the SWOT analysis. I call it the SCOG analysis. Strengths, challenges, opportunities, and goals. This is the cover page for every client meeting. Let's talk about the strengths that exist. I think it's so funny you guys are taking pictures of this. Why can't you just draw a box and write strengths, challenges, opportunities, and goals? But, okay. But, okay. So you talk about their strengths, you talk about their challenges, their opportunities, and their goals. Always refer them and remind them about the goals that they said. And you know what? Each time you put that in front of them, every year you put it in front of them, it'll be different. So let's change it. Let's update it. Have I said anything about the high expense ratio of the Barron Opportunity Fund? Have I talked about how out of balance your MWP portfolio is, or how poorly the XYZ bond fund did? No, they don't care. They want answers to that. That's real. You know what I learned a long time ago? Is that clients want instant gratification rather than delayed gratification. Investing is not instant gratification. Investing is delayed gratification. That is instant gratification. You give them answers to the questions that they have. So one of the things that we're very proud of in our office is that we have a communications system, and I hope you do too. When a client calls your office and they say, hey, I've heard a little bit about your firm, Sally referred me to you, or whatever it might be, can you send me some information about your firm? And if your answer is, oh, just go to my website, you're dead. You're dead. What are you sending out? What do you have prepared to send out? We have an information kit. And one of the things that's in my information kit, which you really can't see there, is a letter that says, here's how to prepare for your initial consultation. We do it in one page. Keep it simple, stupid, right? One page. After the meeting with a client, every single time they come in, whether it's initial, whether it's follow-up, whether it's any time they call, email, we post what's called a memo to file. I use CopyTalk. Many of you may use CopyTalk. I use CopyTalk to post the memo to file. Then, after the meeting, we send out a follow-up letter. This letter goes out to our clients that says, here's what we talked about today. Let's be sure we're on the same page. Are there any changes you want to make? Here's what we promise to do. Then, when they fully become a client, we send them what we call our onboarding kit. That, I will admit, we are now making that online. I'm not mailing that anymore. We're going to make it available to them. They can print out the PDFs, or they can just look at it online. What does the onboarding kit involve? It tells, here's instructions on how you're going to get into account view. Here's instructions on how you're going to get onto eMoney. Here's the jobs of every single person in my office so that if you need a check, you don't need to talk to me. And that, I will tell you folks, is one of the things you need to do. You got to stop processing paperwork. Get out of that business. And you know what the scariest thing is? It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you money. But if you still know how to fill out paperwork, if you still know what to do when a client hands you a check, you've capped your potential. Throw those two responsibilities to somebody else. Last year, 2 years ago, 4th of July. 4th of July was on a Thursday. I'm sorry, on a, whatever it was. My point is that I think, 4th of July was on a Thursday. Maybe it was a few years ago, not 2 years ago. So we gave the staff the 4th off and the 5th off. Nice people. But Marion, my business partner, and I said, you know what? We'll see a few clients. This client comes in, and they hand me a check for $500,000. It was a rollover that they were expecting. And I look at Marion, and she looks at me, and we just smile. We take everything. Meeting's over. They leave. I go, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? I had no idea what to do with a $500,000 check. But there really wasn't much I was going to do with it. It was 4th of July weekend. It was no big deal. We locked it in our safe. It was all good. But that's okay, folks. Let one other person be responsible for tracking the checks, using the Move Money tool, following everything up. You don't need to know how to use that. Let somebody else do that. You focus on what you do best, and that's the eyeball-to-eyeball relationship with your clients. So what we have in our office is what we call 72 points of communication, because the number one reason that people leave you is why? They don't hear from you. So our goal is 72 points of communication, and here they are. 72 points of communication is, first, unlimited review meetings. But how often do we meet with our clients? One time a year. Any of you that are meeting with your clients quarterly, cut the cord now. There is no need to meet with any client quarterly. You want to meet some semi-annually, that's fine, but certainly not all. Make it annual. Especially you can make it annual when you're in touch with them 52 times through a weekly newsletter that you do. And how many people here get my newsletter planning pointers? How many people here in the room? A couple of you. If you want planning pointers, my weekly newsletter goes up to 7,000 subscribers. Go to my website, friedmanfinancial.com. That's Friedman, 2 E's and a D, financial.com. I have a radio show, so that's my little tagline there. Go to the bottom of the website, click on the button that says sign up for Marc's newsletter. Boom, you'll get the newsletter starting Friday, 10:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing it since March of 2009. You also get 12 monthly statements. You get quarterly performance reports. You get invites to client events. We're always available by phone, always available by email. And when you call my office, you will always, during regular hours, get a live voice. Always. 72 points of communication. Easy. Clients get a newsletter. They want to get in touch with me. It's that simple. They just hit reply. That easy. All right. So let's wrap things up. I got 3 minutes. We're going to go through 10 ideas that instill the heart of the client experience. Number 1, focus on the formula for financial planning. Discovery, capital protection, and wealth management. If you're not doing all 3, you're not doing financial planning. Number 2, act rationally during emotional times. Don't buy into what your clients are telling you. Sit back. Relax. You might find that hard for me to do. Relax. Breathe. Enjoy the experience with them. They will be much happier. 3, focus on client goals, not on performance. Make sure that you're clear on their path. If you use eMoney, the best thing about eMoney that I love is you can track progress. It's not about a one-time game. You can see how they're doing towards their goals. You can keep them focused on the big picture and not the investment accounts. Number 4, document everything. Whether it's copy talk, whether it's your letters, however you choose to do it, write down everything. We live in a litigious society. You need to be sure that you are protecting yourselves. Because remember, the person that will probably sue you will not be your client, but your client's kids. I'm serious. Your clients won't have the guts to sue you. But if the kids start to see an inheritance that they think might have been mismanaged, that's who you're going to have to fight with. And if you don't have the notes to support every decision you made, you could be in trouble. Delegate. Like I told you, stop processing paperwork, stop taking the checks, stop doing research, let other people do that. Focus on delivering advice. Steer the ship. I'm sorry, one more. Steer the ship. Don't let it steer you. You guys have to make the decisions. When a client says, you know, my biggest pain in the ass client is my father, who started in the business. But now that he's out 10 years, Dad gives me a call last week and he says to me, Marc, I was out on the golf course with a buddy of mine, and he was saying, I need to move my portfolio 35% to silver. I go, what? Do you remember when you used to get these calls at the office and you would just hang up on them? Dad, I'm going to hang up on you. Goodbye. I mean, it's the most ridiculous. You got to steer the ship. Number 2, become visible in your community. Get involved in your chamber of commerce. Be a coach on your kid's soccer team, whatever it is. Stay involved in your community. Hone your leadership skills. Folks, people are looking you to be a leader. Take leadership management classes. Go to a conference like this. Be better at what you do. Most importantly, folks, wholesalers are not what they used to be. Your wholesalers are incredibly skilled. They know that selling you a product is not going to make them that's not going to be what their business is all about. They need to know your business. They need to be into you. They need to be able to provide you better advice, to make you a better planner, and they are skilled to do it. Use them. Use them. And lastly, for all your clients, share your portfolio. Uh-oh, it got quiet in here. Well, come on. If you can't tell your clients about your portfolio, why should they tell you about theirs? Really, Marc? Are you thinking like that? This, folks, this is your portfolio. What does your office look like? When people come into your office and they see what you have on the walls, is it awards? It's the fact that you were a Barron's #1 person, that you were the #1 salesperson for Franklin Templeton, that you sold more than somebody else. Throw those all away. I know that Brad talked about putting the names on the plaques and all the stuff that you get. Keep that in your personal office at home. Don't hang that up on the walls. Put pictures of your kids up. Put pictures of what you enjoy, whether it's a basketball team, whether it's Disney, whether it's whatever it is. Put that stuff up on your walls. That is what makes you a better financial planner. So I want to remind you again, folks, you're faced with an extraordinary task. We are ordinary people faced with this extraordinary task. It's up to you to get out there, work with the mass affluent baby boomer. They need you more than ever. And I want to thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Thanks.